Original post, June 5, 2023. I'm honestly not sure where to start, so I guess I'll just start. My husband and I have been dating since I was 19 and he was 22. We've been married for 6 years now. We have 2 kids and I'm 6 months pregnant with our third. 2 years ago, I found out my dad has stage 3 colon cancer. My dad is my only parent as my mom passed away when I was 12. He's my favorite human and life without him doesn't seem as colorful. His laugh is contagious, and he gives these big bear hugs that seem to make all of your broken pieces feel like they're perfectly in place again. Whenever I've had a hard day, he doesn't poke and prod, and just lets me vent and listens. About 5 months ago we discovered the treatments aren't working for him, and in direct quote of the doctor he said, "Months not years." Since then, he's gotten progressively worse and now is losing memory. He looked at the dog he got for me on my 21st birthday and said, "Wow, that's a nice dog, where'd you get it?" My husband has been my absolute rock. He has been there for me, holding my hand and helping me through this. He's been so loving and attentive to both my kids, and don't get me wrong, I am a mother first always. I don't allow myself to wallow. My kids are still loved, cared for, played with, and I haven't let my load slack around the house. Once my dad got his updated prognosis, my husband encouraged me to quit my job. About a month later we discovered we were pregnant again, and I still hadn't let go of my job. I kept holding out for some reason. After finding out I was pregnant again, he assured me it was still okay to quit my job, that honestly it would save us a small fortune on daycare costs anyway. So I did. I quit my job. My best friend and I have been friends since diapers. Her family is like my family and vice versa. My mom and her mom grew up together. We've always been solid, and right after my dad's appointment, when we found out he had so little time left, I drove straight to her house, and she held me while I cried for hours. If there are soulmates in friend form, she was mine. Thick as thieves, is what my mom used to say. This morning as I was up with my 3-year-old, he's sick, my husband's work alarm was going off. He has a few he sets, so I turned that one off and gently woke him up. He said he was up late working, so he took the morning off. Rolled over and went back to sleep. As I went to turn off the remainder of his alarms, I saw a text from my friend on his lock screen that said, "I'm assuming since there hasn't been an angry pregnant lady on my doorstep, you haven't told her about us yet?" Time froze in that moment. I took his phone and walked away and just read their conversations. For 4 months this man has been screwing my best friend. 4 months these people have been lying to my face. And I know what you're going to say, you should have seen the warning signs. But I've been clutching this phone in my hand for 2 hours and nothing. He has been so loving and attentive to me, but he always has been. So kind and gentle. There has been no late night work nights except for once in a blue moon. There has been no lingering touches between them or even glances. They act as they have since the day I first introduced them. How sick is it that she calls him her brother, but she screws him? I know so many people get a moment of clarity in situations like this, but I have none. Aside from being sad about my dad, I haven't changed. I'm still a loving wife and mother. I still doted on him and my children. I talk to him about how he is doing and how was his day every freaking day. I haven't allowed the ground to swallow me whole. I know what I have to do now, but I just don't want to. I'm about to lose my family and my support system in one blow. I'll confront him tomorrow. Today I just need this last 24 hours of peace. As for her, I won't give her the satisfaction of a response. I don't care why she did it. She did it and it's done. I was always the friend who cleaned up her messes. After today I will cut her out of my life like she never mattered at all. This has to be the hardest storm I'll ever weather, but I know it'll sail through it. If not for me, for my children. Update 1, June 6, 2023. A small update about everything going on since my kids are now in bed for the night. I spent the morning gathering everything I could and making a checklist. I sat in my office for the better part of the morning telling my husband that I was preparing things for my dad. Not a total lie, I did have to get him sorted with hospice today. My boss would be happy to have me back, however, my lawyer said to pump the brakes on that idea for the time being. However, my old boss did tell me that whenever I'm ready, the door is open and to just give her a call. He does not have access to my inheritance from my father or my mother. My lawyer assured me in that. I didn't mention her in the post, but my mother-in-law is an absolute angel. I love and adore her so much, and she's always been a shoulder to lean on. After he had gone to work for the afternoon, I asked my now ex-best friend's mom and my mother-in-law to meet me at my dad's house. My kids were outside playing with now ex-BFF's older brother. I just handed them the screenshots, saving them from the unsavory pictures and sex tape, though I did tell them it existed. To say they were furious was an understatement, and they are on my side completely. Angie, My now ex-BFF's mom is ready to cut contact with her daughter completely. She kept repeating how sorry she was. We hugged and cried together. My mother-in-law told me she couldn't believe she raised a spineless terrible human. That no matter what happens I will always have her, and as far as she's concerned, she doesn't have a son, only a daughter. After an in-person meeting with my lawyer, we went over finances, logistics, and everything you could think of. She has all of the proof and she's out for blood. I know a lot of people were hoping for me to get revenge or do psychological warfare, but honestly, after my kids went to bed I took a shower and just broke. I don't have the strength or energy to dish anything out. I just want out. Pretending like everything was okay today was too exhausting and I just don't want to do it. Once he finds out tomorrow, I'll update with the aftermath, as I'm sure it will be huge. As for now, thank you all so much for your kindness, warmth, and support. Truly. Your words have helped give me the strength to keep my head above water. I appreciate every single last one of you for everything. Update 2, June 6, 2023. For my sake I'm going to give everyone fake names so for context. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are Ruth and Joe. Ex-BFF's parents are Angie and Bob. Ex-BFF is Jess. Soon-to-be ex is Tyler. Ex-BFF's brother is Jake. I'll just refer to my dad as Dad. I have a few things I want to get through, so I'll just summarize as best as I can, and if you have any questions I'll answer in the comments. To get this out of the way, because to me it feels important. Yesterday I scheduled a same-day appointment with my OBGYN and got tested for just about every STD and STI out there. I got the results for most back and they were all negative. There's a few that take up to 2 weeks to get the results back for, so I'll be waiting on those. When I met with my lawyer, I brought everything on my end financially wise, including the wills from both my dad and my mom, and I managed to get my hands on his financial documents. He stores his in his office in a locked box. I also brought over everything we had set up financially for my children. While I'm not totally sure if it's everything, I am pretty confident I got most of it. My lawyer was happy I managed to get my hands on that much. Ruth even handed over her will to me from both her and Bob to ensure I was taken care of in the divorce. My lawyer understands I am wanting a divorce immediately, however, she wants to make sure she is thorough and isn't missing any key info. So hopefully I'll have actual divorce papers to give him in about 30 days. I'm not rushing her though, I'm letting the professional do her job. Now for the sit down. I asked Angie and Ruth to describe everything in detail on what happened. Angie, the revenge seeker that she is, forced them to sit through a slideshow she put together of all of the texts. I know a lot of you were concerned about one of them telling them sooner than later, but they were so secretive they didn't even tell their significant others about what was happening. Once the slideshow ended, Tyler tried lunging for Jess and Joe actually had to force him to sit down. Tyler was shouting profanities at Jess and telling her she would regret this. Jess started crying and begging her parents for forgiveness. Bob looked his daughter in the eye and told her he will never forgive her for this. Blood or not, she is no daughter of his. He didn't raise his daughter to be this person. Jess was always a daddy's girl, so I think that cut her pretty deep. Jess is in the middle of a divorce herself and her parents were giving her money for her lawyer, and they told her she is cut off from them both financially and physically. Tyler's dad was irate. According to Ruth, he looked like he was holding back on throttling him. From there Tyler went straight home. I know because we have a Ring doorbell camera along with a few cameras in the house for our kids to keep an eye on them when we aren't right next to them. Tyler came home and saw that most of mine and the kids' stuff was gone and he lost it. Started yelling and throwing things. The house is now trashed with a few holes in the walls for decoration. When he didn't find us there, he went to my dad's. While I did spend most of the day, he was at work packing and moving things into my dad's house. We were already at his cabin. Tyler took a baseball bat to my dad's door trying, and failing, to break it down. My dad's neighbor actually called the cops on him and he was arrested. His parents refused to bail him out. I had an appointment with my therapist today. I've had one for a year now since I was struggling with my dad, and it felt good to just cry it out and let everything out about how I was feeling. It was very helpful, and she gave me a few tools to work through my emotions with this one. I felt very grounded and empowered leaving my session today. I'm also planning on setting up my children with a therapist when we get back from the cabin to figure out the best way to deal with telling them. I know people said I shouldn't, but I will be telling them, just in an age-appropriate way. I don't want there to be secrets and lies between us. I've always been as open and honest as I can with them, again in the most kid-appropriate way. Just because they're small humans, they're still humans and still deserve the truth. I had a handful of comments telling me I should stay and every man cheats. I should work things out because most of our marriage was good. I refuse to believe all men cheat. My parents were married for 20 years and after my mom passed my dad never moved on. I watched my dad love my mom for 12 of those years and cherish her. I will not accept anything less than that kind of love. He never cheated nor did she. While I'm not sure when I'll be ready to move on, falling in love is the absolute last thing on my mind at the moment. I refuse to let Tyler win and destroy love for me completely. I will move on from this. Jess started blowing up my phone demanding I fix this situation and immediately blaming me. My lawyer told me to not block texts just in case they spill out additional info I was missing. She was playing the poor me card very hard. The thing is though, I never influenced Angie and Bob to cut contact with their daughter, they made that choice on their own. She actually started blaming me for stealing the love of her life. I introduced them when Tyler and I started dating, so not sure where that came from, and that Tyler is only with me for the kids. Honestly, I knew she was just trying to hurt me at that point. I didn't give her the satisfaction of responding though. Between her and Tyler I have about 200 missed calls. Tyler went from begging and pleading with me to forgive him. Like I said, I didn't have divorce papers to hand him, so he's stuck in this unknown gray area. I also asked Angie and Ruth to not say anything about the divorce to him yet. Purely just for my satisfaction, honestly. I know it's slightly petty, but keeping him in the gray area of not knowing is my small revenge to him, to threatening to call the cops on me for kidnapping, telling me Jess wasn't the only one, bingo, just what I was looking for, to telling me I'm stuck up, to threatening me, to back to begging me for forgiveness. Honestly, it was just a whiplash reading those texts. I'd be lying in saying if those texts didn't hurt me and terrify me all at once, but I refuse to let them break me. As for both of them together, I don't think he is going to stay with her. I think he blames her for blowing up our marriage, honestly. Who knows though, they deserve each other. I was initially okay to do a 50-50 split with Tyler for custody, but after his reaction, I don't feel comfortable with that, so I'll likely be going for full custody. Jake has about 30 days of leave he's saved up and he's going to be using them to help the kids and I get settled at my dad's house, and honestly to be there in case Tyler tries showing up going crazy again. He's been such a big help to the kids and I lately, and I'm forever in his debt for this. Last night after the kids went to bed, he hooked up his Xbox and we played a game called Diablo 4 together to help me take my mind off of things. It was fun. However, he did sort of confess that he's always had feelings for me somewhere in the midst of things, but also told me to not say or do anything back. He understands a relationship or anything like that isn't on my mind and won't be for a while. He isn't wrong, but just that he's felt that way since we were teenagers and just wanted to get it off his chest. Thank you again. Seriously, your comments, your support, your messages, all of it has been one giant breath of fresh air. Just knowing I have a whole online community willing to go to bat for me has kept me treading water these last couple days. Your comments have popped into my head when I felt like just giving up on leaving him because it's so hard, and gave me so many great points and helpful advice. I know I deserve more, and I can't accept his actions. And to the people who commented relating to my situation, my heart goes out to you all. This pain is awful, and I hate that so many of you can relate, but your stories have resonated deep within me. You all keep commending me for my strength, and my personal favorite is telling me how proud of me you are. Every time I see those words I start to tear up. I'm blaming the pregnancy hormones, but your words have helped put me at ease so that way I could do what I knew I needed to do. So I'll leave this here for now. If anything of importance happens when I go back home, I'll update further. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I'm sure many of us would like to know, have you told your lawyer that you want to go for full custody? And have you saved those messages your soon-to-be ex said with threats towards you and your children? I'm sure you have. Since you saved screenshots of messages the first time, you've handled this really well. You've done all the right things to gather evidence and protect yourself. I'm proud of you. And I really wish the best for you and your children. OP. I forwarded everything to her as well as telling her he was arrested, and she responded with full custody? And I agreed. Thank you, truly so much. Jess found the post and made a comment. Jess. I was hoping it wasn't you when I saw this on TikTok, but obviously, it is you. Kirsten. I told you to break up with him. I told you Tobias was in love with me. You refused to listen. I told you my husband left me because he was cheating, but it was because Toby told me we could run away together, and we could be together. You ruined everything and now he won't speak to me? You need to clean your mess up instead of posting on socials being a pathetic POS. You're unbelievable. Did you think I wouldn't see this and find out? I hope you miscarry. OP. You told me to break up with him when I was 19 and you were engaged to another man. You never said why. You never said anything about him, because if you did I never would have been married and you would have been cut out sooner. Also, no. I put fake names in the post to protect your identities, but if you want to blast yourself to the public, that's your choice not mine. Update 3, June 12, 2023. Hi everyone. I know a lot of people are still asking for an update. Not much has happened, but here are the things that have happened. Tyler discovered the post and asked me if I was seeking a divorce. I said I was. He apologized for losing his cool. Asked if there was any hope for reconciliation. I said no. We did have a conversation about the kids, and he'll be allowed to see them with supervision, to which he agreed to. I had another meeting with my lawyer. Nothing of major importance happened. Nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, has happened with Jake. He didn't take back his confession, but as I said, it's on the back burner for a long while. My kids' health and well-being take priority over all else. My dad's health is on a steady decline. He's now in the hospital with no release date in the immediate future. Please send over thoughts and well wishes his way. My kids are adjusting well. We have a therapy appointment for them scheduled next week to help them. My oldest has more questions than the rest, but I'm trying to save any big conversations for the therapy appointment, so I know I'm conveying the answers in a meaningful and the least harmful way. Also, my oldest made tryouts for the traveling soccer league, yay. Oh, and the baby is doing great. Things have calmed down a lot. Truly. I feel like I have a better grip on things. I've been putting most of my focus on my dad and kids to keep myself busy. Thank you friends for the love, support, and for checking in. Update 4, July 23, 2023. Hey everyone. I'm still getting daily messages and comments for an update, so here is what could possibly be my final one. My dad passed away about a week after my last update. I knew it was coming, but it still feels like a gut punch. Thank you for everyone who kept him in your thoughts. Truly. My marriage has officially ended. Once Tyler, I believe that's the fake name I assigned to him, please don't call me out if it's not, it's been a while, discovered just how serious I was about leaving him, he became compliant and was willing to give me everything I asked for in the divorce. So my lawyer opted for a dissolution versus divorce. The process is a lot quicker and went smoothly. As of right now, I have full custody while he works out his anger management and whatnot with therapy. I'm not sure if I'll ever trust him again with the kids, but I'm also in therapy as well are my kids. I'm not making any decisions at all right now when it comes to that. He gets supervised visits at a facility where there is an army of staff and security, and someone is there at all times. That's once a week, and he does get video calls twice a week. The kids are adjusting pretty well. There are days when I think it affects them more, but they've suffered some big losses, so it's to be expected. I did decide to give the baby my dad's first name though. It just felt right. But the baby is doing so very well and is thriving despite the amount of stress I've had going on. I'm managing as best as I can with everything going on. I miss my dad like crazy and I'm still trying to figure out how to exist in a world where he doesn't. The grief still is so very heavy. I'm still mourning my marriage as well. I don't regret leaving him, but it still hurts me deeply. However, I'm picking up the pieces and making my life whole without him. My mother-in-law, well ex-mother-in-law now I guess? I don't know, still feels weird. And Angie helped me out so much. They've really allowed me to lean on them in these moments. Whether it be taking the kids for a little while or cooking dinner for us when I don't have the energy. I truly am so lucky to have them. And finally, to what you all have been waiting to hear about, Jake. Jake is now back in California. He tried extending his leave, but the military said no. It was truly wonderful having him there and helping me. In the first few days after my dad's passing, he picked up so much slack for me that I will truly never be able to repay him for it. He is so patient and kind. That being said, nothing has happened between us. Though he did hold me while I broke down after the kids went to bed quite a few times. But that's the extent of it. No kissing or anything like that. He does call me and text me multiple times a day. Right now, I just don't have any room in my life for romance. I have so much grief and the weight of being a single mom has been heavy. He hasn't pushed me on it either. He let me know that he meant every word he said and that he's willing to just be my friend until I decide I want more, if I ever decide I want more with him. I wish I could be the girl that jumps in with both feet, but the betrayal from my ex is still fresh and I'm worried I would burn anything out before it started. So I asked for friends and time to process everything else in my life before I even consider processing a new relationship. He happily agreed. Oh, and Tyler and Jess are not a couple. Most of you are right, he left her high and dry. Though I don't wish misery on anyone, I'd be lying if I didn't say I get the smallest amount of satisfaction that her life went up in smoke. She's been blacklisted from her family. I know a lot of you said it's weird that our parents did that, but if you guys knew just how deep my bond went with that family it wouldn't seem weird at all. Angie is like my surrogate mom. She gave me the safe sex talk, the period talk, she listened to me cry about the boys who broke my heart, she held my hand while I delivered my kids. When she talks about me, she calls me her daughter. She knew my mom for practically her whole life. She held my mom's hand when she delivered me, and if anything had happened to both of my parents, she is who I would have gone to live with. My parents had that in their will. So with all of that being said, please just be kind to me in the comments. I put this off for a few days because of how hostile some people were, and the prospect of being called a liar doesn't sound too appealing at the moment. Again, I can't thank you for the amount of light and love I've received from you. I promise I read every comment and message, I just haven't had the capacity to respond. You have really helped brighten my days with all of your words of encouragement. I appreciate you all. I am so lucky to have an army of internet friends, you guys are the best. This is it for now, I probably won't post anything else for a while. I'm still trying to find my footing and I'm trying to get settled in a new routine before I bring a brand new baby in the world. I may come back to this, but I may not. Though I do promise I'll update if anything happens with Jake and I. Update 5, August 23, 2023. Just wanted to come back for a small update. Baby is here. He was born slightly premature but no NICU stay was needed. He was 5 pounds 9 ounces and 19 inches and absolutely beautiful. Angie was in the room with me when I had him while mother-in-law stayed with the other littles. My older two are obsessed with their baby brother and it makes my heart happy. Mother-in-law and Angie are taking turns spending the night and days with me for the first 6 weeks until we get acclimated. I told them they didn't have to but they insisted. Honestly, I'm grateful for it. I can feel the waves of PPD trying to drag me under and my mental health really hasn't been doing so good. Don't worry, my therapist knows and we're working through it. Knowing that this baby never gets to know and feel the love of my dad has really been hurting, and the fact that this is the only grandbaby he didn't get to meet. I miss him like crazy and wish he was still here. Jake was planning on staying in for another 2 years to retire but they offered him early retirement, not because of anything going on with me or this whole situation. There was a situation at work. He didn't do anything wrong, so within the next 6 months, he'll be moving back home. He's going to try house hunting and find a place before he comes home, but since he isn't allowed to take any leave during this time to view places since he has to work on his exit stuff, there's a chance he'll be temporarily living with me until he finds a place. No, he isn't moving in permanently. He might even just get an apartment for a year and then buy a house. There's also some drama with Tyler already because he's pissed. I wouldn't let him in the room when I had baby. So if you want any more updates on that front, I'll provide them when I'm not overwhelmed. Love you all. Thank you all for being my ear when I need to vent and get everything off my chest. I hope all of your days are wonderful today and everything goes your way. Until next time, friends. Update 6, October 14, 2023. Hey everyone, I can't believe it's been almost 2 months since I last updated you all. I've missed chatting, but life has been keeping me very busy. Do Tyler's parents still talk to him? No, my mother-in-law cut him off almost instantly and went no contact. Father-in-law is very low contact, and only speaking with him when he takes the kids to their supervised visits to see him. Did Tyler cheat on you with more than just Jess? To my knowledge, there was only one other girl, which if you click on my comments and scroll a little you'll see me briefly explain the situation. If there are any more than that, it's not to my knowledge and I honestly think I'd prefer to not know. Aren't you concerned about Jake and Jess being in contact with one another still? They are siblings after all. Jake and Jess never had a good relationship. They were very low contact before any of this came out. They never got along as kids and their relationship never changed as they got older. Looking back on it, it was a major red flag how she treated him. They only ever spoke as adults at family functions, and even that was brief and only surface level conversations. What all are you telling your children? You should let them process how they need to. The only one who is old enough to semi-understand what's happening is my oldest. I sat both of them down and simply said, Mommy and Daddy aren't together anymore. Daddy did some things that I wasn't okay with. That means Daddy won't live with us anymore, but you can still see him, spend time with him, and love him with all of your heart. It might be a little confusing and that's okay, but it's important to know that we both love you guys so much and that will never change. Then asked if they wanted to talk about it at all or if they had any questions about the situation. My oldest had a few and I answered in an honest, but age-appropriate and gentle manner. They are still in therapy. They come to me if they want to talk about it, but if not, I don't push it on them. My goal in this has never been to weaponize and poison the kids against him, and it's something I will never do. He's their dad and I refuse to traumatize them any more than they have been. Do you have a Venmo, registry, P.O. box, etc.? I am warmed by your thoughtfulness and kindness. However, I cannot accept any of it. You are truly beautiful humans for being so willing to help me. However, I ask that you give those donations to your local shelters. I have a rather large inheritance and an amazing support system, but if I wasn't so fortunate I could have very well been one of the girls who had to take refuge at a shelter. I've been making donations to shelters near me and my kids, and I have been volunteering at a few. On to the update. So if you read any of my previous comments, you know that baby boy is here. He's honestly been the calmest newborn that I've ever managed. Hardly cries, is very content and happy all the time. He's been reaching all of his milestone markers, even hitting the ones that aren't on the preemie scale. It's been such a relief and a blessing. The older two completely adore him and are of course eating up the extra attention they get from their grandparents. Yes, Angie and her husband are called Grandma and Grandpa as well. When I went into labor, I had told Tyler that I was in labor, but I didn't want him at the hospital. It is his kid, so I was being courteous. He blew up on me for taking away his right to see his child be brought into the world. I simply turned off my phone to relax and de-stress. He actually showed up at the hospital and had to be escorted off the property by security. Not for being violent or anything, he just wouldn't leave after I had told the nurses I didn't want him around. After that he hasn't been to a single visit to see the kids. I initially sent him pictures of the baby and updates, but he never responded and eventually blocked my number. After roughly a month I asked my father-in-law to reach out to him since no one had heard from him. My father-in-law actually showed up at Tyler's house to do a wellness check since I was concerned something was wrong. Even though I don't love him anymore, there is a piece of me that will always care for him as the father of my children. Turns out he has a new girlfriend and just isn't interested in being a dad anymore. He actually even denied paternity even though he's the only person I've ever been with physically. The kids are honestly and surprisingly okay with him not really being around. No, I didn't feel it necessary to tell them the harsh things he said. Jake has been completely amazing. He had my favorite food delivered to me at the hospital post-birth. FaceTiming me and texting me regularly. Chatting it up with the kids. Hasn't been pushy on me at all. Has let me set the pace completely. Hasn't crossed any of my boundaries in the slightest. He actually booked me a surprise postnatal massage and arranged all of it, including child care. It was the most relaxed I've felt in months. He sends little gifts and food to the house occasionally, especially on my hard days. Jake has truly been a breath of fresh air. He comes home in just over 3 months, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited. As for me, I've still been regularly attending therapy. It's really helped me cope and just in general become a better person and mother. I'm still devastated by my dad's passing and grief really loves to put a chokehold on me when I least expect it. Sometimes I just go sit in his office where it smells the most like him and cry. I was very blessed to have such a loving and amazing dad. Angie and mother-in-law have truly been angels on earth. I cannot express how beyond lucky I am to have this amazing support system. Even father-in-law and Angie's husband have been insanely supportive and kind. I would be lost without their unconditional love and support. As crazy as it sounds, I'm honestly unbothered by the divorce and Tyler not being around anymore. I think I'm more relieved than anything. My heart aches for my children, but I don't know. I don't think I truly realized how long I was holding my breath and walking on eggshells in that marriage until I was in a space where I didn't have to anymore. My therapist and I really dug deep and took off the rose-colored glasses. In a weird yet awful way, I'm almost thankful I caught him cheating. I think that's why I was so calm and methodical during the leaving him phase. I go back to work next week. I think I'm ready to find my new normal and get back into a routine. While my heart aches my dad isn't around to see it, I'm ready to unlock this next chapter of my life. Cheers to the chapter of healing, self-love, new beginnings, and finding peace within the chaos. Thank you for going through this journey with me, supporting me, sharing your stories with me, and just being here. Love you all internet friends. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll update again when I can. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Have you heard anything from Jess? OP, no one has been in contact with Jess for a few months now. She has tried to reach out to me to reconcile and push off any accountability and blames Tyler for everything. I haven't responded to a single message. She downloads texting apps to contact me since I have her number blocked. I did hear through the grapevine that her divorce proceedings didn't go her way since her ex-husband had proof of multiple affairs. She's been dragging out her divorce for a while and was separated when her affair with Tyler started. No, I'm not the friend you can tell you're cheating on someone with because I will snitch, and she knew that. Knowing what I know now, I'm not surprised by it though. He isn't really a good person either, so I'm not like applauding the ex-husband for this, but the karma is bittersweet. Comment 2, is Tyler able to sign off his parental rights? OP, unfortunately, where I live you can't just sign off your parental rights unless you have like a stepmom or stepdad willing to adopt the children. They can't just sign off their rights without putting someone else in their place. If I could do this, I absolutely would. Update 7, December 25, 2023. Merry Christmas everyone. Or whatever you celebrate, may you have an absolutely wonderful holiday or just day today. Jake woke me up this morning with my kids shouting, Santa came and brought Uncle Jake with him. He's home for good and I'm over the moon with happiness. May you all have a blessed and wonderful day, love you friends. Update 8, February 9, 2024. Hey friends. I come bearing some much anticipated news, but I'm going to breeze over a few things other people wanted to know before we get into the Jake update. A lot of people are wondering if Tyler is still to this day not seeing the kids. He isn't. He no longer responds to his dad, who was trying to be the middleman, so he didn't have to communicate with me. He told his dad that his girlfriend made him choose, and he's choosing her because I wouldn't go through her to communicate with him. Mind you, I don't even know who she is. I don't even know her first name, that's how much I don't know about her. I told him if he wanted to use a third party to communicate about the kids, I would be completely okay with that, but not someone who is a stranger to me or the kids. We could use his aunt, who has remained neutral during the divorce and all of this. It wasn't good enough for him or her, I guess, so he decided to cut all contact. He didn't see the kids for Christmas or New Year. Shortly after the New Year is when he went full no contact. I'm managing the kids and working full-time as best as I can. I'm so grateful for all of the help I have. My mother-in-law and Angie take turns watching the kids while I work, as they're both retired. More often than not I come home to a clean house, happy kids, and dinner on the stove. They truly are the biggest blessings. I'm giving a huge shout out to the single parents who do this completely on their own with no help from outsiders or the other parents, because I cannot fathom how much strength you've had to muster to do it alone. I've had quite a few people ask me if I'm religious. The answer is yes. I am a religious person, however. I will not now, nor ever judge anyone for who they are. Yes, that includes the girls, gays, and tays. The people who were born in the wrong body. No one should ever be able to tell you who you are or who you love is wrong. I support and love everyone in all walks of life. You matter. Your religion or non-religion matters, even if it's not the same one I follow. I have friends who practice witchcraft and I love that they're so passionate about it and it makes them happy. I absolutely love that for them. The people who are taking away women's rights or rights of the LGBT community in the name of religion make me absolutely disgusted. I feel like I needed that disclaimer to be added because I don't want anyone to rope me into that category. I will also not be entertaining any religious debates. Argue with your mother, not me. Finally, on to Jake. We're dating currently. I use the air quotes because we've been going on dates and spending time together but aren't officially boyfriend and girlfriend, if that makes sense. He did kiss me for the first time at midnight on New Year's. Cheesy? Yes. Did I still love it? Absolutely. I'm not ready to offer anything more right now. We have the occasional date night out, but a lot of our dates include things with the kids like movie nights, going to the park, and spending time at the house playing with them. The kids adore him, and he adores them right back. I have quite a few pictures of him holding the baby, trying to soothe him to sleep, and he winds up accidentally napping with the baby, lol. He's allowing me to completely set the pace. He's patient with me at all times. I honestly feel so lucky. I told Jake if he wanted to date other people he could, and he looked at me like I had slapped him and was adamant I would be the only woman he'd pursue. Sometimes I feel guilty that he's healing a heart he didn't break, but he never hesitates to remind me that he's in this completely and will wait forever if he has to. I waited so long to share this because I wanted his stamp of approval to continue to share what is quickly evolving into our love story. I allowed him to read my posts and everyone's comments. He might have gotten a little bit of a big head with how much everyone is Team Jake. He pokes fun at me for it and I love it honestly. This man is so funny without ever being mean. He even said, "It's a breath of relief to know your internet family approves of me." He did create a Reddit account to look at my posts with my approval. He'll likely mostly be a silent follower, but don't be surprised if he pops up in the comments occasionally, lol. I hope everyone has an amazing day. We'll talk soon. Relevant comments. Comment 1, is Tyler paying child support? OP, he wasn't initially, but I spoke with a family lawyer right after the holidays and they said one of the best ways to get full custody and terminate parental rights is to put him on child support. If he doesn't pay for it and doesn't ask about the kids or isn't contacted about the kids for a full year, it'll be labeled as abandonment, and therefore after I go to court to pursue those charges he wouldn't be able to just pop up one day and decide he wants to take me to court for full custody one day when he decides he's ready to play Father of the Year. However, after 90 days we can get the paperwork rolling to start the process of abandonment and whatnot. The lawyer explained it better than I'm able to obviously, but it was something along those lines. I highly doubt he'll pay it though. He found out about my inheritance from my mom and my dad through the dissolution and he seemed pissed that I had all of this money, and he wasn't getting any of it. If he does pay it'll be going straight into a savings account for the kids, and they'll have access to it when they become an adult. The kids seem fine. They're still in therapy and I'll continue to take them until they tell me they feel like they no longer need it, and if the therapist feels the same then I'll no longer take them. They don't really ask about him much at all. They did ask on Christmas if they'd be seeing him, but when I gently told them he wasn't coming they seemed unaffected. Haven't asked about him since. I've been feeling like maybe he wasn't as good with them when I had my back turned because they have just accepted it and seem genuinely okay with it. Update 9, May 24, 2024. Hey guys. Can you believe that in less than 2 weeks it's been a year since I made my first post on Reddit the morning I discovered my ex-husband's affair? I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has supported me on this journey. Y'all have been such a blessing. Whether it's for advice, kind words, or just a listening ear. I am so lucky to have developed my own little community here on Reddit. Now on to some updates. The Jake update will be at the end of the post if you want to skip to read that first. I know you all are feral for it. First things first, I meant to update sooner, but if you saw Jake's comment you know I was locked out of my account. Well, someone changed the password to my Reddit account and then the email to it as well. You'll never guess who it was. If you guessed Tyler, you'd be wrong. It was Jess. Let's rewind about a month ago. I'm cooking dinner for Jake and the kids while Jake is playing in my backyard with the kids. My front door opens, and I figured it was one of my in-laws. They don't usually drop by unexpectedly, but Angie and mother-in-law totally forgot the fake name I assigned to her. Both have a key to my house since they help me out so much. It's just easier that way. Imagine my surprise when I'm chopping up carrots to see Jess waltz into my kitchen. I simply pointed the knife at the door and told her to get out of my house before I called the cops and pressed charges for breaking and entering and trespassing. I wasn't concerned with how she got into my house. I keep my doors locked 24/7, call it paranoia if you will. I just wanted her out and would figure the rest out later. She started screaming bloody murder and was calling me psycho for threatening her with a knife. Jake heard the screams and rushed inside. His immediate response was to restrain Jess because he thought she was hurting me even though there was a solid 10 to 15 feet between us. He dragged her out of the house and told her to leave. She was screaming that she would ruin my life, and all she was coming over to do was ask for forgiveness. Well, she called the cops on us and made up this elaborate story about how we lured her to my house to set her up, how I tried to stab her, and Jake was punching her repeatedly. She had zero proof and I have cameras hitting every angle of the outside of my house and in all of the main rooms on the inside of my house. Naturally, I just pulled up the footage and showed the cops and they left, taking her with them. Jake has spent the night at my house every night since then. Since then, she has hacked into every single last one of my social media accounts, including Reddit. She posted some truly awful and hateful things on my Facebook and Instagram. I'm thankful she didn't manage to post anything on Reddit before I got it back. She spammed my job, I'm a nurse at our local hospital, with complaints and some truly awful, fabricated stories about me. After a week of suspension to investigate, I was welcomed back after everything I told my boss and my boss's boss, HR, and everyone else above me proved to be true. I filed for a restraining order against her and my children when she tried to pick up my oldest from her school without anyone's knowledge. Thankfully I already had a talk with the school about this and gave them a strict, only these people can pick up my child. Everyone else you send away, call the cops, or whatever you need to do. When Tyler got violent in front of the kids a while back, and they escorted her off school grounds and kept her very close by for pickup until they saw me. Right now, I got an emergency order approved but will have to go to court for a more permanent one within the next month. So I will let you know how that goes. She must have had a key from when we were growing up together or something because Angie and her husband have not spoken to her, nor has she had access to them or their home. I got the locks changed immediately. The Tyler update is that there is none. He still hasn't reached out to see his kids, and hasn't asked about them. He's been a ghost. We were eating dinner with Jake about a week ago when my oldest quietly said she wished Jake was her dad, and that her real dad never played with them and was really mean when I wasn't home or looking. Which really just confirmed my fears. They were too accepting of him being gone and now I know why. I did learn through the grapevine that he is already remarried and has another kid on the way. Mother-in-law told me they got a baby shower and wedding invite in the mail. Honestly, I feel bad for the new wife. The kids are truly just wonderful. Still in therapy, but the therapist has nothing but positive things to say after their sessions now. She did mention that my oldest brought up calling Jake dad, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. Jake has made it clear that once, yes, he said once, not if, but once, we're married, he fully intends to adopt the kids, but that is another conversation for another day. I don't want to deter her from having a bond with him, but it still feels too soon, you know? My middle child seems to have forgotten Tyler completely and is my usual ray of sunshine. I've seriously never met a happier kid. The baby is babbling away, smiling, and laughing now. Can y'all believe it? I'm truly blessed with such wonderful kids. Jake. Well, Jake is Jake, you know how that goes. No, seriously, I have never felt such happiness before. He was genuinely concerned at how many people were commenting asking if we were still together and told me, "You better update right now and tell them we're still together." I wish you guys could hear just how funny he truly is. I officially allowed him to give me the title of girlfriend, though he says I've been his girlfriend practically this whole time. He has been sleeping over essentially every night. He says it's under the guise of being worried Jess might show back up, but secretly I think it's because he hates being away from the kids. Whenever he's at work or anywhere that is in my house, he will text whoever is with the kids asking for picture updates of them and expresses how much he misses them. It's actually really sweet. He's been allowing me to set the pace still, just also helping give me a nudge when I need it. He's attended a few of my therapy sessions with me to help get a better understanding of what I need from him in terms of this relationship. Jake is honestly just everything I could have asked for. I'm lucky to love him. As always, thanks for being here. Until next time, friends. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Are Angie and Bob speaking to their son again? OP, no. They're actually even more infuriated with them now than they were in the past, which I didn't think was possible. They're livid that he abandoned his kids for a do-over family. Even his dad, who tried to be the bridge between Tyler and the kids, is just absolutely done. Before they wanted him to grow up and try to be a father to the kids. Now they're fully supporting my decision to terminate parental rights. Though they did reach out to his new wife and warned her of everything he did to me, just in case Tyler wasn't truthful about what he did to me. Turns out he was, and she just doesn't care. She thinks she won by having a man who abandoned his other kids for her. It's giving me major pick-me vibes, and honestly, I'm grateful they went the no-contact route because trying to co-parent with it would have been a nightmare and probably traumatizing to the kids. Update 10, June 26, 2024. Hey guys. I'm making this one quick and easy since it's the first break I've had from life and a busy schedule in weeks. I had my restraining order court date. If you're confused, read my last update, and while I didn't get approved for a permanent restraining order, I did obtain a 7-year one. Apparently, in my state it's really hard to get a permanent restraining order unless I have tangible proof it's life or death. Everything I had on Jess wasn't enough for permanent, however I am still content with this outcome. If she happens to still be a bother during or after the 7-year restraining order, I can take her back to court or have her arrested. With that being said, I think I am letting the questions about Jess die here. I love involving you all in every aspect of my life, however, I don't want her to try to use anything I say about her, even if it's under a false name and protected identity, to say that I've been breaking the RO. Jake, the kids, and I decided that since he spends so much time at my house and his place is essentially a storage unit, that he would be moving in. And before anyone has anything to say about it being too fast, please know I have known Jake my entire life. That's not exaggerating, I've literally known him my entire life. I am comfortable and confident in this choice. Tyler is still a ghost and still has made 0 contact attempts. The kids are beautiful, loved, and thriving. Sorry for it being so short and sweet, but life has been kicking my ass between sleep regression, lawyer meetings, court, work, and my older two's extracurricular activities. Love you guys, thanks for being here over a year later. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm so glad for OP that Jake is there for her, especially that he was there when Jess broke in. Also, while I kind of get Tyler not wanting anything to do with OP or his kids, why is Jess so instant on being in OP's life? Like you ruined her life, and now you're breaking into her house. Anyway, I hope things continue to go well for OP. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.